Now I'm pissed because it just Chrome just shut down on me for no reason. So whatever. Let me just recap for those who were listening before. I appreciate y'all, and it is what it is. Mary J. Blige, we're counting down her worst albums and her best albums. Okay, so we're going from worst to best. She has 13 studio albums, including a Christmas album. We're not going to judge her live albums because that's just like the other albums. So let's just count back down. So 13 was Think Like a Man 2. 12 is the London Sessions. 11 is Stronger with Each Tear. 10 is My Life 2. The Journey Continues Act 1. 9 is Love and Life. 8 is Strength of a Woman. That's where I left off. That's the last album that she actually came out with. It actually is pretty good. Got to give it a chance. She's back to her old, now that she's going through the divorce. It's a different story she's singing, so it's definitely what we're accustomed to, the Mary that we know and love. So, number 7 is No More Drama. Again, that came out in August of 2001. It did sell 3.2 million, which is about, with her best albums, that's where she's about. She's about 3 million copies sold in the US. So that's pretty much her peak right there. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard. That's the album that had Family Affair, Dance for Me. Family Affair is the song that has a bunch of made up words that I never heard of in my life, like dancery and get it crunkulated. I don't know what she's saying, but that song is cute. It's cute, No More Drama, of course, which is the title of the album. And that's when she uses the Young and the Restless as the background. And Rainy Days featuring Ja Rule. That was cute or whatever, right? My favorite songs are not even the singles, that are on the album. The album was cute. It was good. Number 6 is Growing Pains. That came out in December of 2007. And it was also debuted at number 1, also peaked at number 1. Sold 1.6 million copies. Definitely not good for her, but, it was a pretty good album. It actually was a really good album. It had Just Fine, which was a huge hit for her. And Stay Down and Work That. And she'd only released 3 singles off that album. So I think that has something to do with why it wasn't as successful. Because the other albums, she tends to do at least 5 singles from. So she pushes the album pretty much, before she decides to, move on from there. So in case you're just listening, like I said, we were at number 8, which is Strength of a Woman. Number 7, No More Drama. Number 6 is Growing Pains. That came out in December of 2007. Also peaked at number 1. I just said that. So we already did that. Okay. 6 is Growing Pains. Number 5. Now we in the top 5. Now we getting somewhere. 5 is The Breakthrough. That came out in December of 2005. Debuted at number 1. 3.1 million sold in the US. That's where she had Be Without You. She had Enough Crying. She had One, Take Me As I Am. MJB to MVP. That was when she took like the 50 Cent joint and then like kind of remixed it. My mother bugging. So that was number 5. That album won 2 Grammys. And she was nominated for 8 Grammys for that album. And that was the most for any artist that particular year. So she did her numbers, even though that album, was at number 5. She did very well with that album coming out. So it was a good album. That album got one of my favorite songs by her on there called Father in You. Anybody who's a Mary fan knows that song is very deep, very good song. So now we down to the top 4. Number 4. Now, this is going to be a little controversial because I think when people think about Mary, they think about what's the 411 automatically, like that was, Diddy, Puff and Mary working together. All right. What's the 411 is my number 4 of her greatest albums. That came out in July of 1992. That was her first album. It only peaked at number 6. And it did sell 3.4 million albums. And, you know, that had Reminisce, Love No Limit, Sweet Thing, Real Love, You Remind Me, you know, a bunch of nostalgic, sample heavy album. And that's Diddy. That's what he did. That's what he does. That's what he's great at. And he was able to pair her with the right samples and the right types of songs that suited her voice and what, you know, what they were trying to push at that time. He was unstoppable. So anything he touched at that time was gold, period. But that was not, I think there's 3 albums that are still better than What's the 411. What's the 411 was very sample heavy, very up-tempo heavy. It, you know, wasn't her strongest vocally, but it was still a great album, still one of the greats. Let's see, number 3. Again, controversial, but this album by far is her best vocally, her best album, period. And that's the Marry album. That came out in August of 99. Debuted at number 2, peaked at number 2, sold 2.1 million copies. That's the one that had As. She redid As. All That I Can Say, dope song. Deep Inside, again, another very introspective song about her life, about her. You really don't get that type of vulnerability in music anymore. Maybe with Drake, I guess, whatever. Your Child, Give Me You. She won in that album, even though it didn't sell as much as the other albums had. She won the BET, the first BET award for Best Female Artist. So that was the first time they ever came out with that category, and she won it. So that does say a lot about that, testament to just how she really put her whole heart on the line. Even the cover, to me, the album cover for the Marry album, it was really one of the few covers where she has dark hair. She just looks like Marry, you know, and it was a very vulnerable, you know, she's singing from the heart, and that's what it really is. That album is a very great album, very sensitive, very introspective, and she didn't do anything like that again. I mean, she does talk about her life, but not like the way she did in that album. All right, so let's go down to the 2 that's left. Number 2, Share My World. Oh my goodness, that album, to this day, you can play that from front to back and back to front and be jamming the whole entire album. That came out in April of 97, debuted at number 1. This was considered like her darkest album. That was when she was dealing with KC. So that was a very tumultuous relationship. She was at her height in drug abuse, her height in alcoholism. She was extremely dark at this time. So you got a lot of that type of vibe in that particular, you know, album. So she released Missing You, 7 Days, I Can Love You, Everything, Love Is All We Need, featuring Nas. Need I say more? That year was a bad year for her, because when she did the Share My World album, Erykah Badu came out that year with Baduism, and she shut her down. They got nominated for exactly the same exact categories, and she lost to Erykah Badu in every single category. So not only was she having a a dark place in terms of her album recording, she couldn't win an award. I think she did win one NAACP award or something, but she couldn't win anything. Grammy, she lost to Erykah. Soul Train, she lost 2 to Erykah. It was kind of like she probably wanted to wring her scrawny neck at that time. All right, guys, so we're down to the nitty gritty. The number 1 album, if you've been following me, then you know there's only 1 album left. Can we get a drum roll, please? Mary J. Blige, best album. Don't fight me on this. You can't fight me on this. Is My Life. My Life album. November 94. Okay. Debut peaked at number 7. 2.9 million albums sold. She did Be Happy, My Life, the track album title. You Bring Me Joy. Mary Jane, All Night Long. She did I'm Going Down. She, you know, this album, period, was number 17 in the 50 essential female albums according to Rolling Stone. It was number 63 in the top 100 greatest albums of the 90s and number 279 in the 500 greatest albums of all time. There's no beating that. For somebody like Mary J. Blige to come on the scene and be even in the middle of the top 500 albums of all time, My Life, y'all can't fight me on that. That's the best album. She will never be able to top that. Selima, I remember when we used to hang out and we used to listen to My Life. Like, we listened to that album even if we were maybe too young to even really understand the depth of what she was singing about. Doesn't matter. Love is love, and it was one of the greatest albums ever. I could listen to My Life right now. It was ahead of its time. I mean, just ain't no fighting that. Ain't no beating that. So that's my list. Once again, I'll just quickly go down the list from worst to least. 13 was Think Like a Man 2. 12 was the London Sessions. Ooh. 11 was Stronger with Each Tear. 10, My Life 2. She should have never did that album. 9, Love and Life. 8, Strength of a Woman, which is her new album. 7, No More Drama. 6, Growing Pains. 5, The Breakthrough. 4 is What's the 411. 3 is Marry. 2 is Share My World. And 1, of course, and don't fight me on this, My Life. The end. Everybody, please comment what you think. Did I get one wrong? I know I didn't. I aced this. There's no debating if one is better than the other. Listen, that's it. So comment, questions, let me know what you think. What's your list? Is it what I think, or do you think something else? Let me know, guys. I appreciate y'all listening, and I'm about to go to my anniversary dinner. Bye, y'all.